Dementia residents can lose the ability to identify themselves, especially if they don't have a long-length mirror in their room or in the facility to be able to refer to, recognise and remind themselves that indeed, yes, this is me. So not having this body identification has a lot of problems actually. For example, if your mother's about to have a 90-year-old birthday and you say to her, look, Mum, your birthday's coming up, you're going to be 90, and she hasn't seen herself for quite a while, forgotten what she looks like, and has lost that body identification, and says to you, 90? I'm not 90. I'm nowhere near 90, dear. I'm 40 or I'm 30. And because she hasn't seen herself on the walker, stooped over, little old lady, she's, in her mind, past memory intact, is seeing herself as a younger woman. Whereas if you are able to go to her and in front of the long length mirror, stand side by side, you can say to her, okay, Mum, so you know what I look like because I visit regularly and you know me well. So yes, she knows you and she sees you in the mirror. And then standing by her, she sees an old lady on a walker. And so you need to say empathetically and kindly, Mum, this is you in the mirror. She might get quite a shock at the start because she's not expecting to see such an elderly person. But once you talk this through, she'll be much more likely to be able to accept it, that indeed she is the elderly woman and indeed her 90th birthday is coming up. Now, the reason why it's confusing for dementia residents and dementia units is because they all have access to the Head and Shoulders bathroom mirror, so they know what they look like shoulders up. And if they've kept themselves out of the sun all their lives and worn a sun hat and their skin's good and they can look younger, many of these women, elderly women with Alzheimer's in their late 80s and 90s, can look much younger than they are, judging from their facial features. But their bodies, no, generally it's hard to get to 90 and not look like a little old lady. Some do manage it, I might add, but it's pretty difficult to look youthful and young when you're that age. So that's the advantage, one advantage of having the mirror and the person being able to identify themselves. Second thing is clothing. If a person can see themselves in the mirror, then they'll be able to keep track of their fashion sense and what they like to wear. You know, everyone has their own style and sense of clothing and colours that they like to match and mix and all the rest of it. But if they're not seeing themselves at all in terms of what they're wearing, they can end up wearing things that are quite out of sync with what they'd normally wear. It might be in sync with what the carer might wear, colourful, garish and a bit gay, but for them they're just, you know, plain conservative lovely lady, and so they're not really wearing what works for them. And when friends and family come, that can be a bit jarring. So if they can see themselves in the mirror and they don't like what they're wearing, they can say, you know, well, I don't like this bright pink with bright orange or whatever it is, maybe one colour but not both, and then you can change it or ask the carer to change it, or your relative to change it. So you can have some authority over what you're wearing when you can in fact see what you're wearing in the mirror. Now, the other thing that is also helpful for the mirror is when you're explaining to your mother about being in the facility. No doubt the tough conversation that has to be had at some point with most dementia residents. So if you're explaining to your mother because she's been saying, why is she here? She wants to get out, she wants to go home. And you've had to explain to her that it's because of her memory problem that she's here at this unit. And at this unit, everyone here does have a memory problem and it's called dementia. You only need to say that once or twice, but just to sort of reach her, it is dementia. She has a memory problem. And where she's living now is just like a nursing home, but it's to cater for people that do have memory issues specifically. And if she says, oh, I'm not old enough for that, I'm not even old enough for a nursing home, especially not a place like this. Again, if she can see herself in the mirror and recognises and accepts that she's older, she will indeed be more likely, certainly, to accept she's in a nursing home, and that may well abide enough to sort of cover the framework of it being a dementia unit as well. If you take her out regularly, she hasn't been a big walker anyway since she's got into her 90s. She's happy just sitting watching TV. Look, she'll hardly notice the difference. If she's younger, of course, it's much more difficult. But with her being elderly and her being able to see this in the mirror, she's accepting she's older, she's accepting she's in the nursing home, then this is a place for people with memory loss as well. Probably she'll accept that with not too much difficulty. So that's why this mirror is so important also for activities of daily living. If she has a mirror, you can encourage her and the carer as well to comb her hair. I mean, that's a thing that most elderly ladies like doing with a brush or comb. She can easily comb her hair in front of the mirror. She can adjust her pearls. Many women in their 90s and late 80s love to have a string of pearls, easy to put on, not a real pair, just a costume jewellery. She can adjust those, maybe adjust the cardi. Maybe when she's going out, she can look in the mirror and have the orientation enough with the mirror to see how to put her jacket on. It's really good to keep up these skills, really. Whatever skills the person has, support that, encourage that, give the resources for that to keep that. It will all help bit by bit, percentage by percentage for quality of life. So I've written about all these topics at length in these companion books, the easy read books on dementia, all the positive practical techniques to help someone with dementia, your relative, when they go into a dementia unit, the resident's voice from a dementia unit, and when they're already settled, the resident's rise from a dementia unit, and everything you're likely to face and solutions for that, positive practical points. So these books are both on Amazon and my website, description below. So get those, read those. You can just carry them with you. They can just be like a diary. You can write in them, work on them for doctors' meetings, notes for relatives, keeping up to date with all the techniques, getting the results that you're getting, time frames, timelines. There's a lot of information to keep track of, really, when someone goes into a dementia unit. It's easily lost and forgotten. But if you write it all in the margins of the books, have a pen in your handbag and just keep the book in your handbag as well, then you can keep track of everything, and stickies everywhere, and it's a good way of being able to learn and absorb and apply the techniques and keep in sync with where your family member is and everything that's happening in the unit with them. So thank you for your likes and your subscriptions, and please pass on the links. Thank you.